Hey, welcome back to the channel. So when it comes to manifestation, most people think that there's just one law which is governing everything that we're manifesting, which is the law of attraction. It's the most popularized law out there. However, just focusing on the law of attraction is like trying to bake a cake with one ingredient. You're obviously missing a massive part of the pie. When it comes to manifestation, when it comes to how we create things in our reality, there's actually 17 universal laws. These are the most key laws that once you really understand how this system works together, you're gonna better understand why manifestation might not be working for you, why it might not be working in the consistency or the speed or the effectiveness with which you would truly desire it to. So I'm going to share with you in this video each of these 17 laws, how you can be aware of them, how they're applied to you in your everyday life, and which law you are violating on a daily basis, which could really just be sabotaging all of your success when it comes to really manifesting what you truly desire. So this is gonna be such a fun video. So excited you're here. Let's delve in. So first up, of course, is the law of vibration. Now, I've done a whole separate video on this law, delving into a lot more detail. But the key thing for you to be aware of here is the law of vibration is a primary law. It's actually what the law of attraction is based on. The law of vibration is like a satellite emitting a signal. Your body is all energy and it is vibrating at a specific frequency. And we can change that level of vibration based on the thoughts that we're thinking, based on the emotions that we're having, based on our dominant even belief systems. A great way to shift your vibration into something that is more magnetizing, something that is going to help you manifest faster, is to practice gratitude. Before you go to bed at night, write out 10 things that you're truly grateful for. Go to sleep, steep in all of that magic that you've just created, and start to watch as your life unfolds in a very beautiful way. Then the second universal principle is Now this is the more popularized law that the majority of people would know when we talk about manifestation. And the law of attraction, again, it's based on the law of vibration. So depending on what vibration, what energy state your body is in, the law of attraction is setting up this process of cause and effect. So you're emitting this vibration, and the law of attraction is literally attracting back to you that which is of likeness, right? That of which is on the same frequency. That is why when we start to focus on gratitude and we start to magnetize our own selves to things that we appreciate in the world and that we are grateful for, we start to attract more things into our life to be grateful for. Then we have the law of mirrors, and this really states that everything in our external world is a reflection of what is going on inside us. The law of mirrors can be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, especially when there's experiences or people in your life that you're like, I would never want to invite these people in. They have nothing to do with me. These are just bad circumstances or bad kind of people. But if everything truly is a reflection of us, it's really an invitation to pause, look inside and go, why did I attract this person in? Where is this habit or this trait? Where is that actually in me? Is this like a shadow part of myself that I'm ignoring? Is this a past part of myself that I haven't yet forgiven? There's something going on. You're seeing this reflection from your inner world in the external somehow. So it's definitely one to sit, pause, and reflect on. Then there is a law of Dharma, or the law of purpose. Now, I very much love this law, especially as someone who knows that they are living their life on purpose. Now, the premise of this law is that when you are living your life tuned into your unique gifts and talents, and what you truly know is your mission, your Dharma, your purpose in life, you are giving to the universe. And so the universe is going to reward you for it. So this is this beautiful kind of compensation that happens, that you turn up in all of your glory, sharing your gifts and your wisdom into the world, and you are rewarded bountifully for it by the universe. Now this ties into the law of compensation. Now this is really focused on cause and effect, but specifically when we look at financial means, right? Financial compensation. And so tying in from the last law, this is where you are giving to others. You are being of service. You are adding into the universe. And so you are really well compensated for it as a result. So if you take care of others, just know that you will be taken care of. And this is why practices even like tithing, which I talk about when it comes to managing your money, giving away 10% to others, being grateful for the money that you have, and also being open to sharing that with others. Giving, being in the state of overflow, really ties into the law of compensation too. Then there's the law of oneness. Now, this is a really beautiful law to understand, to embody, and to have awareness of every single day. What it basically says is what is possible for one is possible for all. And this is where I see so many women, so many people trip up and actually go against this law every single day. What we can tie this back to is our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind has no discretion between or no difference between what you're saying about yourself and what you're saying about other people. When you look at someone else, celebrate them. When you see them like achieving, getting rewards, making loads of money, whatever it is, celebrate them. The law of oneness, what is possible for them is possible for me. And when I am celebrating them, I am celebrating me. We are all one, right? If I push against someone else, if I put them down, if I criticize and I'm negative and mean towards them, I am doing that to myself, right? So really understanding this law of oneness absolutely just eliminates all forms of jealousy, criticism, bitchiness, gossiping, all of these really negative traits, especially that can come up in women's circles who aren't necessarily very aware of the power of their words. Your word is your wand, and who might not be very aware that the language that we speak, the energy that we put out comes back to us. So really understanding the law of oneness, applying it to your day is not just going to bring you more harmony, joy, happiness, but actually just having a more beautiful life in general. Then comes the law of inspired action. Now, this is a really important law to understand, especially in the context of law of attraction. Now, if you've ever watched the movie The Secret, it was really popularized, all about the law of attraction. You could leave watching that movie or reading that book thinking, all I've got to do is visualize and I'm set. The car will just pull into my front drive. The perfect mate's just going to drop in. All the money's just going to start flowing through my chimney, whatever it is, right? The premise of the law of attraction is also very closely linked to the law of inspired action. So yes, we need to turn up and co-create with God, with the universe, in the creation and in the fulfillment of whatever your desire is. And that's a really, really important part. Now, let me distinguish. The law of inspired action is not to say you got to work hard, you got to hustle harder, you got to put in more effort because you're not doing enough. And you're not doing enough, so you're not worthy of what you wanted. No, the law of inspired action is very much part of the manifestation process, where we're clear on what we want, we remove resistance, and then we tune in, right? What is the version of me who is already achieving my goals? What are they doing on a daily basis? How are they thinking? How are they acting? What would they be planning for today? Right? We tune into that future version. I've talked about this in other videos, but how do we turn up as that transformed version? And from that place, tuning into the future version of yourself, you get that spark, you get that nudge, that idea. Then you take action. That is inspired action. So it doesn't mean you can sit in your couch all day and expect miracles to happen, although certainly take your break time. But it means that when you get inspired action, you could end up working for hours and not even notice because it feels like you're in flow. It's inspired. You have this new source of energy flowing through you. It doesn't feel like hustle and pushing. It feels like you're literally being pulled towards whatever it is you're working on. So law of inspired action is definitely one to take note of and to be really, really aware of. Then comes the law of balance. Now, this is another really important law to be aware of, especially for women here watching, because if you step inside spiritual spaces, there can be a lot of conversations around feminine energy and masculine energy. And I know as someone personally who came out of the corporate world, I'd worked in corporate finance for almost 10 years, I was very much living in my masculine energy. And when I stepped into personal development, it almost felt like that was demonized. Like you are so bad, or you're just so out of touch, that you're so in your masculine. And it was really said as something very negative and something very derogative towards me. And at the time, I was still so new to this world of personal development, I didn't really know how to receive that. But I thought I was doing something wrong. And I thought I had to be really in my feminine energy all the time in order to be, doing things right, to be doing things right as a woman. And it's actually complete BS, because the law of balance says you need both, right? So as women, we tend to have more feminine energy. It's not always the case, but we tend to have more feminine energy. Men tend to have a more dominant masculine energy, right? So we have this balance. However, men can be nurturing, right? So they have access to their feminine energy too. Doesn't make them female or girly, but just the same as women can have access to their masculine energy. Doesn't make them a tomboy, or doesn't make them like something derogative in terms of they're just being very male. No, we have access to both energies, and actually both are meant to work together. It's why we have access to them, right? So when I think about this in my own business, yes, like I use my feminine energy to tune in, to do my manifestation processes, but it's not like some airy fairy thing. And personally, I love the balance of feminine and masculine energy. And when I'm in my business and I'm doing my work, like I love to bring that energy and that focus and determination and kind of grit towards my work. And for me personally, I don't really resonate with people who just are so focused on the feminine energy and try to position it as something more noble or divine or goddess-like versus women who are more balanced or might have more masculine energy. But really the purpose of this isn't for me to have my own little therapy vent. It's actually just to share that it's both. It's not one or the other. And we see a lot of men very stuck in their masculine and don't have access to the feminine, and that is hurting them and those around them. And equally, women who are just in their feminine without any access to their masculine are also selling themselves short from being able to turn up and actually complete tasks, complete their goals, and go after what they truly want. So again, the law of balance here is key. Then we have the law of patterns. And this is just a really fascinating law to become aware of. If you've ever had any charts read, you might have been given a life number. Now, I've had my life number given to me. It's a number 3, so things tend to come in cycles of 3 for me. But the premise of this law is to say that everything in nature, everything in our universe runs on these patterns, on these cycles. Just like we have the different seasons in nature. Like men run on a 24-hour cycle, women run on about a 28-day cycle, right? There are these patterns and phases that we have to go through. But our life too has a cycle. There's different stages and chapters, and maybe you can find out what your life number is to know when you'll be going through these transitionary phases. And the same is true for our business. If you're someone who is an entrepreneur or a business owner, the same is true for what is happening in your business. It will also go through phases. Now, the reason I want you to be so aware of this is because what we resist persists. So how can I relate this best? Well, when I was working in corporate, I had no idea about my cycle, my 28-day cycle. And there'd be some weeks I was focused and on it, and I could just absolutely kill any project, get it out, and it was just done amazing. I was just feeling so incredible. And then there was some weeks where I just felt like I really need to go home early. Like I don't feel like going to the gym at 5 a.m. and I just wasn't as on. Now, I didn't really have an understanding that I was going through these different phases, and I would really be hard on myself and really push against the phase of rest, taking care of myself. Because I thought, no, that's not being successful. I got to push through. When I really began to understand these different phases, I began to soften into these phases of rest and giving myself that space and that opportunity. And what I noticed is that when I was good to myself in those phases, when I listened to that, where I was in that phase in my cycle, when I got to the next phase, when I was motivated again, I was even 10 times more. And so what we resist persists. Now look at your own life. Are you going through a phase or a chapter where maybe you are in the spring of your life? And that's amazing. It's new ideas. Or maybe you're in the winter and things have just started to slow down and you just don't have the same energy for things, you don't have the same motivation. Maybe everything's just feeling like you just need to hibernate a little bit. Check in. Where are you in your life, in your business, in your personal self? And just remember, what we resist persists. So give yourself the space to go through this phase and know that when you do, what is on the other side can come so much faster to you, and you can move through to the next phase where it will have a different type of experience there for you awaiting. Then there's a law of cause and effect. So you will reap what you sow, right? So this is like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So the focus here is really highlighting and putting a spotlight on the importance of only put out what you want to receive back. And in our everyday life, this kind of looks like treat others how you want to be treated, right? Be kind to others because you desire kindness. So putting out energy that you want to receive back. Now, there's great There's great videos and episodes by Earl Nightingale. They're mostly now on YouTube, or you might have come across some of his other trainings and teachings. He is one of my favorite people to listen to. He is like the grandfather of personal development and literally reminds me of my own grandfather. But he talks about the subconscious mind as this fertile soil. And one of his great stories, he was sharing that just like fertile soil, your subconscious mind does not care what you plant in it. You can plant some deadly poisonous plant, or you can plant some beautiful blossoming flowers. it will give back to you in just as much abundance, whatever it is you planned. And so when we look at the cause and effect, like what we put out, we are getting back. What we are implanting in our mind, we are going to receive. So again, bringing awareness of how am I living my day-to-day life? Am I bringing kindness? Am I bringing the energy that I would like to receive back? Then we look at the law of infinite possibilities, which really is just to say that we live in a world where truly anything is possible. So when you think about creating magic or miracles in your life, expect those. They are not the unusual things to happen. Make that the norm for you. Wake up in the morning with an energy and an attitude of expectancy of, you know what, I am open to receiving miracles today, because miracles are natural in the world that we live in. And so even just setting that intention, just wait and see. Just wait and see what's gonna happen in your life. And when it does, come back and share with me in the comments. Then we have the law of free will. Now, this again is super important to understand, because when it comes to manifestation, we can't manifest in someone else's life, and neither should we. Plus, we also have our own free will. Even though the universe might be sending you the signs and sending you the nudges and the guidance to go this way, we have all of our free will to say, no, not ready, I'm going the opposite direction. But I like to remind students that what is desired by you is destined for you. And so this is why having your goal in mind, knowing what it is that you want to achieve, but then letting go the how. Because it's not going to be just one path. It doesn't have to be. There's multiple paths that can get you there. So trust the universe in how things are unfolding. Don't force it, and certainly don't force things upon other people, because they are on their journey too, and they also have free will that they get to operate with. Then comes the law of transmutation, which just means that energy is constantly in flux, constantly changing from one form to another. But remember this, when you walk into any room, the person with the highest energy, the highest frequency wins. One person in the high energy, high frequency will outnumber 10 people, 100 people on a low frequency. So when you walk into a room, whether it's a networking event, or maybe it's just going back to like in-laws, whoever it is, walk in there having already set your intention, having already taken care of your energy, and just watch how situations can unfold differently to what they might have been in the past when you didn't do that. Then comes the law of reciprocity, which really is about being a really good giver and receiver. And this is especially important for women that I work with, because I know women are incredible at giving. They are the natural caretakers, always taking care of someone else. And there's a tendency to be open to this conditioning of putting ourselves last on the list. In order to be a good giver to others, whether it's support, love, service, we also equally need to be good at receiving. Because as good as it can feel to give to others and help others, we also need to know that we got to give that gift to other people too, by being open to receiving the supports, receiving love, and receiving the service of others too. So remembering, you can't just be giving all the time and not being open to receiving, and vice versa. You can't be just taking all the time and not be willing to give. So again, it's a balance here. Then there's the law of relativity, and this really looks at, when our soul incarnates into this world, it comes with certain lessons that it's here to experience. Right? There's new chapters, there's new levels that it's seeking to pass through. And to pass through those levels, there are certain life lessons it must go through. So when bad things might appear, or like quotation, bad things might appear, don't try and resist them, because again, as we said earlier, what we resist persists. But understand, what is the lesson here? What is the gift from this experience? Because the sooner I can learn that, the sooner I can pass to the next level. I have seen this play out the most in my friendship groups and with women I know in relationships, right? Understanding if it was a bad relationship, instead of trying to shit on someone or say they were awful or badmouth them, go, what was the lesson? What did I need to learn from that relationship? And the sooner I can get that lesson, the sooner I can integrate it, embody it, then I know I don't have to repeat that lesson. But if I ignore it, if I just talk badly and I don't get the lesson, if I don't get the gift of that experience, I am now going to be more prone to repeating that again and again with different people, different faces, until I finally go, okay, I got it, pass, check, on to the next level. Then there's the law of polarity. Now, this can apply in so many ways throughout your life, but truly the whole purpose of this law is to understand that there's two sides to everything, right? Two sides to every coin. And so when you're growing your business, when you're going up the corporate ladder, don't get too cocky. The universe will give you experiences to make you more humble. Equally, if you're too humble, the universe will give you experiences to make you more confident. Now, how I like to see this play out really in a very tangible way is when it came to my dating life. And I used to think when I was writing out the type of man I wanted to manifest, I had a very clear understanding of the law of polarity, that there's two sides to every coin. And so if I'm looking for a man who is super ambitious, super driven, super successful, I have to realize the flip side of that coin means he may not be that present. He may not have a lot of time. He may be juggling a lot of priorities. And I have to be okay with that. And then there's the flip side. If you want the guy who's always with you 24/7, is like, would drop anything for you, like is always there, his time is always with you, then maybe he doesn't have many other ventures going on. Maybe he's not doing a lot else. And that's okay too, if that's what you want. But just understanding, and I saw this exactly like in my relationships, when you're choosing your kind of partner you want, there's a flip side of everything, as is there with you. When we value certain things, there's a law of polarity. It means we can not value other things as equally, right? There's always a flip side. Then comes one of my favorite, absolute favorite laws. Please take this on board, write it down. It is the law of unwavering faith. As you are going through the science of manifestation, as you are learning these universal principles, if you've watched other videos of mine, which I highly recommend, understanding the manifestation process in more detail, faith is going to become your best friend. And I guarantee when you understand the science, how things are working, you don't even have to hope and wish anymore. Your faith is based on understanding, and that is a deep level of certainty and knowing in your body that nobody can shake. Then there's a law of constant motion, that everything in the universe is constantly in a state of motion with a forward propulsion, right? Everything is moving forward. The next step forward we take, the past is erased. There is no past behind us. And this is something really powerful that I learned that completely transformed things for me. There is no such thing as in the past. When we say in the past, like, oh, forget it, it's in the past, our brain starts to think the past is a place. Like, oh, it's in the fridge. And what that does is it gives our brain the signal that we can go back to the past and now change things. And that's why when we think of past events, we can get these really emotional reactions to it, because our brain is still trying to take us back to address that past issue, to address that issue from the past. But actually, when we understand it's of the past no longer exists, it's done. We can actually allow our head and our brain the space to go, it's over. There's nothing for me to do. And watch your whole nervous system calm down. Watch that emotional intensity and the attachment to the past start to dissipate. Now, there was a lot of laws that we went through here, 17 in total. It's been amazing to share these with you. I would love to know, which are your favorite? Which ones are you aware of already? Which ones are you like, I need to start being more aware of this and apply it in more detail with more intention? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And be sure to check out our next video. I know you're gonna love it just as much. I'll see you over there.